Everybody, I want you to pay very close attention here for far eastern Clark County and northern Hancock County. This storm is particularly dangerous. The damage caused by tornadoes is exactly what TWIRL is trying to better understand, how the buildings behind me can become ripped apart, how pieces of roof like this become projectiles. We're looking at another one of these field fires. It's this kind of conditions, these very dry conditions, very low humidity values, very strong winds, that's making it so difficult for firefighters to fight these.
Rotation is definitely picking up, definitely visible with the eye. This is a funnel cloud that is dropping with this storm. This is not just radar indication. We can see it.
But again, this is Highway J. Basically goes from US 3624 all the way south to Highway EE. That's where this tornado would be right now. While the focus is really on the satellite itself, the rocket, which you can see behind me, and I gotta tell you, not a lot of people get this close to a launch-ready vehicle. Normally when you think of these winter events, you think of snowplows. However, it's events like this, we don't really need these. What we need is in the back. Let's come back to the back of the truck here. By the way, MoDOT, all their trucks right here, we have 5 at the Palmyra facility. They're all ready for the event to unfold. Now, different snow fighting methods and ice fighting methods. For one, we have the rock salt, which you can see up here. This truck is ready to go, ready to start hitting the roads as that ice storm begins to hit. The other method that they use, which is a lot better in a lot of respects as it can kind of spread out better and they use less salt to actually use it, is the brine mix. We use water and brine come out through this.
Now your exclusive KHQA Elite Weather Team forecast.
Now, let's take a look at our weather headlines as we head into the next about 24 to 36 hours. It's going to get pretty active. We do have some showers and thunderstorms we're tracking later on tonight. We'll have a calm period tomorrow afternoon out ahead of our next severe weather maker, which will begin pushing into our area around 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. The good news is it'll be a pretty quick moving line of showers and thunderstorms. Here is round 1 beginning to take shape across northwestern Missouri, central Iowa. This is going to continue to push into our direction overnight tonight, mainly producing a little bit of damaging wind threat across our far western viewing area. Let's put that forecast in motion for you. What we're going to see is this line pushing into our area by between about midnight and 2 a.m. Again, our far western viewing area, that's our primary threat for some damaging winds later on tonight. It'll continue pushing on through, move through pretty quickly through the area, hopefully clearing on by about 5 to 6 a.m. this morning. We may have some lingering showers in the early morning hours tomorrow, so continue to put that forecast in motion for you. A little bit here and there, but again, our focus begins to shift as we head towards later Saturday. We begin watching the potential for more shower and thunderstorm activity developing across central Iowa. This is expected to push into our area heading into tomorrow evening. Our latest run of the RPM model, which you see behind me, this is our in-house model, not bringing it into our area until about 9 to 10 o'clock. I think this is just a little bit later than I think we'll actually see it. I think closer to 6 to 7 o'clock is when we might start seeing that severe thunderstorms roll into our area. It should push on through pretty quickly though. And again, the good news for that is that we won't be dealing with a widespread flash flooding event, probably clearing your area between about midnight and 2 a.m. And then your Father's Day forecast looking pretty good across the tri-states. A lot of sunshine and temperatures more seasonable. Also noticeably less humid across the area. We do have that enhanced risk for severe weather. This is for tomorrow. Basically the entire area is under the gun for severe weather tomorrow. Our primary threats, well, damaging winds. We put our impact timeline here. Again, our window for severe weather begins opening up at around 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, lasting through about midnight. Flash flooding is possible. We may have some large hail, maybe the size of $50, maybe a little bit bigger, but our primary threat tomorrow is damaging wind gusts, maybe 70 miles per hour or stronger. Tornado threat is there for some quick spin-ups, but I think our primary threat will be the damaging wind threat tomorrow. So overnight tonight, showers and thunderstorms, low right around 70 or so degrees. Tomorrow it's going to be a warm one once again, heading right around 90 degrees. We'll have gradual clearing through the afternoon hours before the storms begin rolling on through our area around 6 o'clock tomorrow night. 7-day forecast, looking at that shower activity clearing out for your Father's Day. Low 80s across the area, again noticeably less humid. To start your work week, we're also going to be a little bit cooler for your Monday. Lots of sunshine, so we really just have to get through the next about 36 hours and then we are in the clear, at least through about the next couple of days as we head towards middle of the week next week. After an agonizing and tedious hour-long delay, United Launch Alliance gave GOES-R go for launch with no time to spare in the launch window. After a false alarm with the system, followed by someone venturing to the rocket's path downstream, a poll of the launch team gave the green light for the Atlas V rocket to launch, and the meteorologists that gathered to watch knew it was time to celebrate. The rocket took off against a pitch-black backdrop, the boosters so bright it turned night to day. For the manager of the entire project, the moment he's been waiting for over a decade has finally been realized. Initial reaction.
Oh, this is just phenomenal. That little, using the entire hour-long period just sort of built the anticipation. It sort of made that launch even more poignant.
The clear skies allowed those on the ground to track the rocket well after launch. It took time for the sound to travel to us, and once the sound wave hit, you could feel it in your chest.
That is awesome.
It wasn't only the project director relishing in the excitement, the engineer who helped design the satellite acknowledged the importance of this launch and what it will mean for our country.
It has a noble mission that's far beyond other things that we can imagine. If one life is saved by this mission, then we've accomplished everything. So.
And of course, the rocket itself, the launch is really only half the battle. We still have a lot of stages it has to go through before it enters our orbit. The clock behind me kind of marking the different stages of that. Again, there should be about another hour added onto that, but because the launch was delayed by about an hour, it's actually only about 4 hours and 20 minutes post-launch. But again, I cannot thank Storm Center enough for selecting me to come here and take it all in, learning how to use the satellite for you guys back in the tri-states. So for one last time, reporting live at the Kennedy Space Center, I'm meteorologist Nick Stewart, KHQA News. After a quiet start to the storm season, prospects for severe weather begin increasing starting May 8th in Colorado. The Center for Severe Weather Research leaves their home base in Boulder for their initial target of Lyman, 100 miles southeast. The Doppler on Wheels, or DOW, a mobile weather radar, gets in place to start scanning the skies as the funnel begins to drop from the storm. Under the guidance of Dr. Joshua Worman inside the DOW, the scout team start getting into position. Scouts carry tornado pods capable of measuring important weather information inside tornadoes.
These have instruments on them that we place in the path of tornadoes. We have 2 anemometers. We have a blade anemometer and a sonic anemometer. We also have pressure, temperature, relative humidity readings here as well. And we also have a GPS, so we know where we place them when we can go back and retrieve them.
If the storm does drop a tornado, Dr. Worman's plan will then go into action. The DOW begins scanning the tornado, working to determine a path. Once the path is determined, that information is relayed to the scout teams, which then drop the tornado pods in the path every 100 meters.
Luck plays a big role on whether we get to the right place at the right time. And the DOWs can vector us in and give us a timeline and say, okay, at 106th and Saddle Road, it'll be there in 3 minutes. You need to get there. Well, that doesn't give us a whole lot of time, and depending upon the road conditions and where the tornado is moving, we may or may not get there in time.
It's a combination of the DOW scans and the tornado pods that will help collect groundbreaking new data that will ultimately help save lives.
Our goal is to make a 3-dimensional map of that tornado, really a 4-dimensional map, watching that tornado evolve in time and relate it to the damage that occurs to trees, telephone poles, and unfortunately, houses and other buildings that may be in its path.
Yeah, it's about 5 or 6 kilometers from us. Does not look impressive on the radar.
Back out near Lyman, the storm begins moving northeast, so the TWIRL team gets out ahead of the storm once again. Radar trends show that the storm is weakening and that the storm is becoming more outflow dominant, meaning that rain-cooled air from the storm is rushing out, cutting off the inflow of warm, moist air needed to keep the storm strong. Most of the team begins heading south, calling off the chase for the day. However, the Scout 3 team decides to stick with it for a bit longer.
Oh boy.
The storm begins dropping large hailstones, a sign of a strengthening updraft. And it's not only hail-covered roads the team has to worry about as this cow tries to make a break for it. Unfortunately for the Scout 3 team, the tornado potential falls once again, and it's time to call off the chase for the day, concluding the first mission of 2017.